The moment my 6-year-old called a homeless man daddy, 300 wedding guests turned to stare. The champagne glass slipped from Zora's fingers. Crystal shattered against Italian marble. The botanical garden had been transformed into paradise. Fairy lights draped through ancient oak trees. White roses perfumed the evening air. 300 of New York's elite stood frozen mid-conversation. But Zora couldn't see any of it. She could only see her twins, Malachi and Celine, 6 years old, standing at the edge of the koi pond, their tiny hands wrapped around the dirt-stained fingers of a man in torn clothing, a homeless man. His beard was matted. His coat hung in threads. His shoes had holes where leather used to be. But his eyes, God, his eyes. Zora knew those eyes. She had loved those eyes once. She had run from those eyes for 6 years. Daddy, Malachi's voice rang across the garden like a gunshot. We found you. Gideon appeared at Zora's elbow, her fiancé, the billionaire. His security team flanked him like shadows. What the hell is this? The homeless man lifted his head. Tears carved clean tracks through the grime on his face. 6 years, Zora. His voice cracked on her name. I slept under bridges. I searched everywhere. I cried myself to sleep, wondering if my babies were even alive. Zora's legs wouldn't move. Her lungs wouldn't fill. Security, Gideon snapped. Remove this man. No. Both twins screamed together, clutching tighter. Have you ever built a perfect life on a foundation of lies? Have you ever wondered what happens when the truth finally catches up? Zora had spent 6 years running from this moment. But the past doesn't stay buried, especially when it has your children's eyes. What would make a mother steal her own children from their father? And what happens when those children find him anyway? Stay with me, because this story will change how you think about love, sacrifice, and the lies we tell ourselves to survive. Welcome back to Untold Lineage, where we uncover the stories hiding beneath ordinary lives. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. This story will stay with you long after it ends. If you're returning, thank you for being part of this family. Now let me tell you about Zora, a choice she made 6 years ago, and the homeless man who never stopped loving the children she took from him. 48 hours before my world collapsed, I was standing on top of it. The Rainbow Room. 65 floors above Manhattan. The city sprawled beneath us like a constellation fallen to earth. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbows across white tablecloths. A string quartet played something soft and French in the corner. Gideon had reserved the entire floor. That was the kind of man he was. When Gideon Ashford wanted something, he didn't just reach for it. He bought the entire building it stood in. Zora. He said my name like it was a prayer. His hand trembled as he reached into his jacket pocket. Gideon Ashford, the man who had acquired 17 companies before his 40th birthday, whose signature made Wall Street nervous, whose very presence commanded rooms full of powerful men. His hand was trembling. He lowered himself to one knee. The box opened. 8 carats. Flawless. A diamond so perfect it seemed to contain its own light source. The kind of ring that appeared in magazine spreads and celebrity gossip columns. I've spent my entire life building empires, he said, but nothing I've ever built compares to what you've given me. You and those children. You've made me believe in something beyond balance sheets and quarterly reports. His eyes glistened. Marry me, Zora. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you. I looked at this man, this powerful, wealthy, devoted man who worshipped the ground I walked on, who had given my children stability and opportunity, who looked at me like I was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. I felt nothing. Not nothing exactly. I felt the absence of something. A hollow space where warmth should have lived. The same emptiness I'd carried for years, wrapped so tightly around my heart that I'd almost forgotten it was there. Yes, I heard myself say. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. Gideon didn't make mistakes. He kissed me, and I kissed him back. And somewhere deep inside, a different face flickered through my memory. Rougher hands, a guitar-calloused touch, a laugh that came from somewhere real. I pushed the memory down where it belonged. Buried. Forgotten. Safe. What Gideon didn't know, what I'd spent years making sure no one would ever know, was that the twins weren't the product of a brief college relationship gone wrong. They were born from something I'd buried so deep, I'd almost convinced myself it never existed. Almost. The morning after the proposal, sunlight flooded the penthouse like liquid gold. I stood at the kitchen island, watching steam rise from my coffee cup. The ring caught the light with every movement. Heavy, beautiful, foreign. Malachi appeared in the doorway. My son had his father's eyes, dark, searching, the kind of eyes that saw through walls and pretenses and carefully constructed lies. At 6 years old, he already carried himself with an intensity that unnerved strangers. "Mummy." "Yes, baby." He climbed onto the bar stool across from me. His pajamas were wrinkled from sleep. His curls stuck up at odd angles. "Gideon smells like money." I blinked. "What?" "Money and cold buildings. That's what he smells like." Malachi traced a pattern on the marble countertop, not like a real person. My fingers tightened around the coffee cup. "That's not a nice thing to say. Mal, Gideon loves you very much." "I know." He shrugged. "But he doesn't smell like Daddy did." The cup slipped. Coffee exploded across white marble. Brown liquid, spreading like a wound. I grabbed paper towels with shaking hands, mopping frantically, avoiding my son's too knowing gaze. "You don't remember your father, Malachi. You were too young." "I remember the songs." I stopped moving. He made up different ones every night, about dragons and brave knights and a princess with hair like midnight. Malachi's voice grew distant. He smelled like outside, like grass and sunshine and something warm. Celine appeared beside her brother. My daughter moved like water, silent and deep. She placed her hand over Malachi's. "Mal had the dream again," she said softly. My throat closed. "What dream?" "The one where Daddy's looking for us." Celine's eyes held depths no 6-year-old should possess. "But he can't find us because we're up too high. He walks and walks and walks. His shoes have holes, his face is wet. But he never stops looking." I realized I was crying, tears streaming down my cheeks without permission, without warning. Years of suppressed grief breaking through cracks I thought I'd sealed forever. "Mommy." Malachi reached across the counter. "Why are you sad?" "I'm not sad, baby. Does a long time ago mean it wasn't real?" The question hit like a physical blow. I stared at my children, these impossible children who remembered things they shouldn't remember, who dreamed things they couldn't possibly know, who carried pieces of a man I'd erased from our lives, a man who apparently walked through their dreams with holes in his shoes, looking for them, never stopping. That evening, Gideon returned home with blueprints. He spread them across the dining table like a general planning a campaign. His eyes sparkled with the particular excitement he reserved for grand gestures. "The botanical garden," he announced. 300 guests. The mayor's already confirmed. 2 senators, the Whitmore family from Old Money. Everyone who matters will witness our engagement. I stared at the seating charts, the floral arrangements, the catering menus that cost more than most people's annual salaries. "Gideon." The twins asked about their father today. His pen stopped moving. A brief pause. Then he resumed writing. "I thought you said their father wasn't in the picture." "He's not, but they're asking questions. Malachi remembers things. He was an infant when you left that situation." Gideon didn't look up. Children construct false memories all the time. It's developmental, normal. These don't feel false. Zora. Now he looked at me. Patient, patronizing. Whatever that man was or wasn't, he's irrelevant now. I'm their father in every way that matters. Legal adoption papers are already being drafted. The words should have comforted me. They terrified me instead. "We should discuss this more before." "There's nothing to discuss." Gideon smiled. "Now, about the engagement party. I'm thinking white roses throughout. Classic, elegant, timeless." The conversation was over. I knew that tone. Later that night, I sat alone in my study, The penthouse was silent. Gideon slept soundly. The twins dreamed their impossible dreams. My laptop screen glowed in the darkness. For years, I had never searched his name, never looked, never wondered. I had cut that chapter from my life with surgical precision. But Malachi's words haunted me. He smelled like outside, like grass and sunshine. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I typed his name, Tobias Wren. The search results loaded. My breath stopped. Headlines filled the screen. Images I wasn't prepared for. A man I barely recognized. Gaunt, bearded, hollow-eyed, standing outside a New York shelter, holding a photograph of our wedding day. The most recent article was dated 3 weeks ago. He was alive. He was searching. And he was only 40 miles from the botanical garden where 300 guests would gather to celebrate my new life. Everything I'd told myself turned to ash. To understand what I destroyed, you need to know what I had. Senior year at Columbia, October, the kind of crisp autumn afternoon that made New York feel like a movie set. Leaves swirling through Broadway, students rushing between classes, the smell of roasting coffee and old books. I was walking past the Hungarian pastry shop when I heard the guitar. Not polished, not perfect, but honest in a way that made me stop mid-stride. He sat on an overturned milk crate, worn jeans, a jacket that had seen better decades. His fingers moved across the strings like they were having a conversation only he could hear. Other girls walked past him like he was scenery, part of the urban landscape. Another struggling musician in a city full of them. But I stopped. One song became two. Two became three. The afternoon shadows lengthened. My feet ached from standing. "You're going to wear a hole in the sidewalk." I startled. He was looking at me now, eyes dark as midnight coffee, a smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "You've been standing there for 3 songs. Maybe your songs are worth standing for." His eyebrows rose. Surprised, like compliments were foreign currency he didn't know how to spend. Most people drop $1 and keep walking. I'm not most people. No. He studied me with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable. "No, you're definitely not." He set down the guitar, extended his hand. "Tobias, Zora, Zora." He repeated it slowly, tasting the syllables. "That's a queen's name." My mother was optimistic. He laughed, not polished, not calculated. A laugh that came from somewhere real and unguarded. The kind of laugh that makes you want to spend your life hearing it again. "Can I buy you a coffee, Queen Zora? The pastry shop has terrible coffee but excellent atmosphere." That's a strange selling point. I'm a strange person. Fair warning. I should have walked away. I had a study group waiting, a boyfriend back at the dorm, a carefully planned future that didn't include sidewalk musicians with holes in their jackets. Instead, I sat down beside him on that cold sidewalk. "Play me another song first." He did, and then another. And somewhere between the 3rd song and the 4th, I fell in love with a man whose entire life fit in a backpack. A man who had nothing to offer but words and music and a heart too big for the world that had wounded it. I didn't know then what he'd been through. Didn't know he'd grown up without a family. Didn't know he'd spent 2 winters sleeping in subway stations. All I knew was that when he played, something inside me recognized something inside him. And recognition, I would learn, is more dangerous than love. Because love can fade, but recognition haunts you forever. 18 months. That's how long we had before everything shattered. 18 months of the most transformative love I've ever known. Tobias showed me a New York that didn't exist in guidebooks. Rooftop gardens growing wild on abandoned buildings in the Bronx. Underground poetry nights in Harlem basements where words were currency and authenticity was wealth. Hidden jazz clubs where musicians played until sunrise because music was the only language that told the truth. We ate meals made from farmers' market scraps, vegetables the vendors would have thrown away, herbs growing in cracked pots on fire escapes. Tobias could transform nothing into something that tasted like heaven. "Food should be an adventure," he'd say, crushing garlic with the heel of his hand. "Not a transaction." Everything with Tobias was an adventure. He recited poetry on subway platforms, debated philosophy with veterans in Washington Square Park, built furniture from discarded wood he found on street corners, a bookshelf from broken pallets, a coffee table from an old door. His mind was the most beautiful place I'd ever visited. "How do you know all this?" I asked him once, watching him sketch architectural designs in a second-hand notebook. "Libraries are free," he shrugged. "The places I grew up weren't always safe, but libraries always were." He'd been through more than anyone should endure before adulthood, passed from home to home until the system gave up on him entirely. 2 years on the streets before he got his GED, 3 jobs at once while he taught himself to code. He should have been bitter, angry, hardened by a world designed to fail him. Instead, he burned with something else entirely. "There's something in me that matters, Zora." He told me this one night, holding me on a rooftop as the city glittered below. "I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to find it. I'm going to make something of myself, something real." I believed him. I believed him so fiercely that when my period was late, I didn't feel fear. I felt joy. The pregnancy test showed 2 pink lines in a bathroom smaller than Gideon's closet. I held it under the flickering fluorescent light and laughed. Tobias wept when I told him. Not sad tears, overwhelmed tears. The tears of a man who had never had a family finally receiving one. "I'm going to be a father." He kept repeating it. "I'm going to be a father." I believed in us so fiercely. I believed that love would be enough. I didn't know it was the beginning of the end. I didn't know that the greatest love of my life would become the greatest wound. February 14th, Valentine's Day. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. 34 weeks pregnant, 22 hours of labor, a hospital room that smelled like antiseptic and fear. Tobias never left my side. Not once. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't complain when I crushed his fingers during contractions that felt like my body was tearing itself apart. "You're doing amazing." His voice stayed steady even when mine dissolved into screams. "These babies are going to be warriors because they're coming from you." Malachi arrived first, screaming, furious, fists clenched against a world he hadn't asked to enter. The nurses laughed at his intensity. "This one's got opinions already." Celine came 7 minutes later, silent, observing, her eyes open and searching before she'd even taken her first breath. Like she was cataloging everything, storing it away for later use. Tobias held them both, one in each arm, tears streaming down his face, his whole body shaking with something too big for words. "How did we make something so perfect?" He kept whispering it, over and over. "How did we make something so perfect?" I watched him with those babies. This man, who had never known a father's love, who had been passed from place to place like unwanted furniture, who had slept in subway stations and eaten from garbage cans. He held our children like they were made of gold and starlight. The first 2 weeks were exhausted joy. Tobias worked 3 jobs, overnight stocking at a grocery store, morning deliveries for a restaurant supply company, afternoon coding freelance projects on borrowed laptops. He came home at 3 in the morning most nights, but he never came home empty-handed. "Go sleep," he'd insist, taking Malachi from my arms. "I've got them." "Tobias, you haven't slept in 30 hours. This is what fathers do." His voice carried weight, conviction. "This is what my father should have done. I'm going to be everything he wasn't." Let me pause here for a moment. Tobias was working himself to exhaustion for his family. He had nothing, but he was giving everything. Have you ever known someone like that? Someone who loved so hard it scared you? Drop a comment below, because what happens next is going to shatter your heart. The bills came first. Hospital invoices, thick envelopes with red stamps, urgent printed across the top like accusations. No insurance, no savings, no safety net. $14,000 for the delivery alone. The debt collectors started calling during dinner, during feedings, during the few precious hours when both twins slept simultaneously. "Mr. Wren, This is regarding your outstanding balance. Tobias would step outside to take the calls. He thought I couldn't hear through the thin walls. He was wrong. Then the landlord came. 3 months behind on rent. Eviction notice taped to our door like a scarlet letter. Malachi developed a cough that wouldn't stop. Deep, rattling, the kind that made his tiny body convulse. Pediatrician visits cost money we didn't have. Medicine cost more. Celine wasn't gaining weight properly. She's in the lower percentile, the doctor said carefully. We should run some tests. Tests meant money. Money meant debt. Debt meant desperation. I watched it change Tobias. The light behind his eyes dimmed. The songs stopped. The easy laughter disappeared. He started looking at me with something I'd never seen before. Fear. I have a lead. He said it one night after a 12-hour shift. Some guys who need a driver. Deliveries. The money's good. My stomach dropped. What kind of deliveries? Does it matter? His voice cracked. Malachi needs medicine. Celine needs formula. We need a roof over our heads. Tobias, I know what you're thinking, but these are good people. They just need someone reliable. Good people don't recruit desperate fathers at 3 in the morning. Good people don't offer easy money with no questions asked. I saw our future splitting into 3 paths. Bars, bullets, or the slow erosion of everything Tobias had fought to become. He was going to destroy himself trying to save us, and I was going to watch it happen. Unless I did something first. My mother called on a Tuesday. I hadn't spoken to her in 2 years. Not since she told me that marrying Tobias was social suicide. Not since she called our children mistakes that would define my failure. Her name on my caller ID felt like ice water. Zora, mother, your father had a stroke. 3 days ago. 3 days. She'd waited 3 days to tell me. Is he? He's stable, but his right side is paralyzed. He's asking for you. The words hung between us. Loaded. Calculated. There's something else. Her voice shifted. Softer now. More dangerous. I've spoken with my attorneys. There's a trust. For the twins' education. Their future. My heart stopped. What kind of trust? The kind that ensures they never struggle. Private schools, college funds, medical care. A pause. But there are conditions. Of course there were. Come home, Zora. Raise those children properly. Leave that man behind. His name is Tobias. His name is irrelevant. He's a street performer with no future. He has nothing. Her voice hardened. He is nothing. Is that the legacy you want to give those children? Poverty, struggle, watching their father get arrested for whatever illegal deliveries he's considering? She knew. Somehow, she knew about everything. Think about the twins, Zora. Think about Malachi's cough. Think about Celine's weight. The line went dead. I should have hung up first. I should have chosen love over money, faith over fear. But my baby had a cough that wouldn't go away, and the man I loved was about to become someone I wouldn't recognize. My mother had planted a seed, and in the soil of my fear, it was already taking root. The fight happened on a Tuesday. Tobias stood by the door, jacket on, keys in hand, ready to meet the men about the deliveries. Don't do this. My voice fractured on every word. Please. There has to be another way. There is no other way. He spun around, eyes wild, desperate. I've tried everything, Zora. Everything. I've worked until my hands bled. I've begged for extra shifts. I've sold everything we own except the clothes on our backs. This isn't you. This is exactly me. He slammed his palm against the wall. This is who I've always been. A kid from nowhere with nothing. The system told me I'd end up dead or in prison. Maybe they were right. Tobias, I'm doing this for them. He pointed toward the bedroom where the twins slept. For those babies in there who deserve more than a father who can't provide. They deserve a father who's alive, who's free. They deserve food, medicine, a future. His voice dropped to a whisper. I'll be back by midnight. Don't wait up. The door closed behind him. I stood in the silence. Malachi coughed in his crib. Celine whimpered. My mother's words echoed through my skull. He's nothing. Is that the legacy you want to give those children? I waited 1 hour. Then I started packing. 2 bags, diapers, formula, the few baby clothes we owned. I moved like a ghost, silent, mechanical, already gone in every way that mattered. I loaded the twins into their car seats. They didn't wake up. My mother's driver waited outside, a black sedan with tinted windows, no questions asked. I took one last look at our apartment. The bookshelf Tobias built from discarded pallets, the coffee table made from an old door, the guitar leaning against the wall, evidence of a man who created beauty from nothing. I was about to destroy him. I knew it. I did it anyway. The sedan pulled away from the curb. City lights faded in the rearview mirror. My reflection stared back at me from the glass. A mother protecting her children, a wife abandoning her husband, a woman making a choice she could never undo. No note, no explanation, no goodbye. His texts started 30 minutes after we left. Hey, came home early. Where are you? Did you take the babies for a walk? 1 hour later. Zora, the apartment's dark. Call me. 3 hours. Where are you? I'm getting worried. Please just text me back. Midnight. The crib is empty. The closets are empty. What's happening? Zora, please. I read every message. I never responded. 2 in the morning. Did I do something? Tell me what I did. I'll fix it. Whatever it is, I'll fix it. Dawn. I called the hospitals. I called the police. They said you're not missing if you left voluntarily. Did you leave voluntarily? The next day. I can't survive this. I can't survive losing them. 3 days later. I quit the delivery job. I never even took the first run. Does that matter? Does any of it matter anymore? 1 week. I walked to your mother's house in Connecticut. Security turned me away at the gate. I saw the twins through an upstairs window. They looked warm, fed, safe. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that has to be enough. 2 weeks. Lost the apartment today. Couldn't pay rent anyway. Living in my car now. At least I still have your photos. 3 weeks. I understand now. You were right to leave. I am nothing. I have nothing. They deserve better than me. That was the last message. After that, silence. Years of silence. I told myself I was protecting him. Protecting them. Protecting everyone from the inevitable tragedy of Tobias's desperation. I told myself so many lies that eventually I started to believe them. I became Zora, the single mother. Zora, the survivor. Zora, the woman who had escaped a bad situation with her children's futures intact. The truth was simpler and uglier. I was a thief. I stole a man's family while he was out trying to save them. And somewhere in New York, a father with holes in his shoes never stopped walking, never stopped searching, never stopped hoping. Connecticut swallowed me whole. My mother's world operated on different rules. Appearance was currency. Silence was strength. Emotion was weakness to be exploited. I learned fast. Within 6 months, I had shed every trace of the woman who loved a street musician. Executive training programs, business etiquette courses, the proper way to hold a wine glass, the correct fork for each course. I climbed the corporate ladder like my life depended on it. Because it did. Marketing coordinator, senior associate, director of brand strategy. Each promotion, another layer of armor. Each success, another brick in the wall between who I was and who I had become. The twins grew up in privilege. Private tutors, organic meals, bedrooms larger than our entire New York apartment. Everything money could provide, but money couldn't buy silence. Malachi started drawing when he was 3. The same image, over and over. A man with curly hair holding a guitar. Sometimes the man was smiling. Sometimes he was crying. Sometimes he was walking down a long road with no end. Who is that, Mal? The music man. From my dreams. His name is Tobias. My blood ran cold. Celine's questions were quieter, more surgical. Mummy, Where did we live before Grandma's house? Mommy, why don't we have any baby pictures with our father? Mommy, do people just disappear? I answered with lies. He was someone I knew in college. He wasn't ready to be a father. Some people aren't meant to stay. The children accepted these explanations. But they never stopped dreaming. 5 years after I left New York, I met Gideon Ashford at a charity gala. He was everything Tobias wasn't. Polished, powerful, protected by wealth so old it had its own gravity. When he looked at me, he saw potential, an asset, a woman who could be shaped into the perfect partner for his empire. I let him shape me. We moved into his Manhattan penthouse. The twins called him Mr. Gideon, and eventually just Gideon. Never dad, never father. Some boundaries they drew themselves. In my closet, behind winter sweaters, I kept a box, photographs, a concert ticket stub, a dried flower from our rooftop garden, a onesie Tobias had bought before the twins were born. Evidence of a crime I could never confess. Guilt doesn't disappear with time. It just learns to hide. That night after the proposal, I finally faced what I had been avoiding. My hands trembled over the keyboard. Years of deliberate ignorance ended with a single click. The search results loaded. I wasn't prepared. The first headline was dated 4 years ago. Tobias Wren found unresponsive near East River. Former musician hospitalized for hypothermia. A photograph accompanied the article. Tobias on a stretcher, eyes closed, face gaunt, an oxygen mask covering his mouth. He had nearly died. While I slept in silk sheets, he nearly froze to death by a river. I scrolled further. Local artists' exhibit on homeless experience opens to acclaim. Another photograph. Tobias standing in a gallery, thinner now, grey threading through his hair, but alive, standing in front of paintings that depicted life on the streets. Raw, honest, brutal. He had turned his pain into art. Former street musician turns tragedy into advocacy. An interview. Tobias, speaking about the failures of systems meant to protect people, about the invisible army of homeless fathers searching for children they couldn't find, about courts that favored mothers who vanished. He never mentioned my name, not once. Non-profit founder builds shelter network for displaced youth. He had created something, a network of shelters specifically for young people aging out of the system, the same population he had belonged to, the same forgotten souls society discarded. Hope flickered in my chest. Maybe he was okay. Maybe he had survived. Maybe I hadn't destroyed him completely. Then I found the most recent article, dated 3 weeks ago. Wren's Nest loses funding. Organization closes after founder's health decline. The photograph stopped my heart. Tobias, older, weathered, standing outside a shuttered building. The same jacket from years ago, patched and repatched, shoes held together with electrical tape, a cardboard sign tucked under his arm. Wren has reportedly returned to the streets. The article explained everything. Medical bills from his hospitalization had drained the non-profit's reserves. Donors withdrew support after the organization couldn't maintain services. Tobias had given everything to keep the shelters open. Now he had nothing left. I barely made it to the bathroom before I was sick, kneeling on cold marble, designer nightgown pooling around me, the ring glittering under fluorescent lights. He was homeless again, because of me, because I stole his family while he was trying to save them, because I built my perfect life on the wreckage of his. The woman in the mirror looked like a stranger, a monster wearing designer clothes. And somewhere in New York, 40 miles from the botanical garden, the man I had destroyed was sleeping under a bridge. Manhattan in spring should have felt like a promise. Cherry blossoms drifted through Central Park. Sunlight warmed limestone facades. The city hummed with possibility. I felt none of it. The gown hung on my body like a burial shroud. Thousands of dollars of silk and beading. Custom fitted. Photographed for 3 different magazines. I couldn't breathe in it. "Mummy, you look sad." Celine stood in the doorway. Her matching dress was pale pink. A miniature princess for a fairy tale engagement party. "I'm just nervous, sweetheart. Big day." You don't look nervous. You look scared. 6 years old, and already too perceptive. I'm fine, baby. Go find your brother. The drive to the botanical garden took 40 minutes. Gideon's driver navigated through traffic while he answered emails on his phone. The twins sat in silence. Unusual for Malachi. He always filled silence with questions and observations. Today he stared out the window like he was searching for something, or someone. Cameras flashed as we arrived. Society photographers, magazine correspondents. The social media team Gideon had hired to document every perfect moment. He helped me from the car, leaned close, smile. This is the happiest day of our lives. I smiled. The twins didn't. Malachi's hand tightened around mine as we walked through the garden entrance. His small fingers pressed insistently against my palm. Something feels wrong, Mommy. I dismissed it. Nerves, excitement, the natural anxiety of a child at an overwhelming event. Everything's fine, Mal. But something whispered through the garden. A warning carried on the breeze. The cherry blossoms suddenly looked like snow, like the winter that had almost killed Tobias. I had learned to silence my instincts. I silenced them again. It was the last time I would make that mistake. Mommy, I need the bathroom. Malachi tugged at my hand. The engagement party swirled around us. Champagne glasses clinked. Laughter floated through the garden. I'll take him. Celine stepped forward immediately. Too quickly. Something flickered in her eyes. No, I'll go with Miss Zora? Harper appeared at my elbow, Gideon's assistant. Perfectly professional. The photographer needs you for the formal portraits. I can escort the children. I hesitated. It's just the bathroom, Harper assured me. 5 minutes. The photographer was already beckoning. Gideon waited beside a rose arbor, impatience tightening his jaw. Fine. 5 minutes. Harper led the twins away. I posed for photographs, smiled until my face ached, answered questions about wedding plans I couldn't remember making. 8 minutes passed. 10, 15. The alarm bells started softly, then screamed. Where are the children? Harper reappeared, alone, pale. They were right behind me. I turned around and they were gone. I ran. The bathroom was empty. The corridor was empty. My children had vanished. A security guard stopped me near the south gate. Ma'am, I saw 2 kids heading this direction about 10 minutes ago. Where? Where did they go? They were with a woman. He frowned. She appeared to be homeless, ragged clothes. But the kids went willingly. My blood turned to ice. The boy was talking to her like he knew her, asking questions about someone named Tobias. Said his sister dreamed about where to find him. The name hit like a physical blow. Which way? He pointed toward the koi pond. I ran. Years of lies. Years of hiding. Years of pretending the past didn't exist. And now my children had found the man I stole them from. I burst through the south gate. My heels caught on cobblestones. The gown tore at the hem. I didn't care. Nothing mattered except finding them. Then I saw them, Malachi and Celine, standing by the koi pond, holding a tattered notebook between them. Their faces lit up with a joy I hadn't seen in years. They were talking excitedly to someone sitting on the ground. A young woman stood nearby, homeless, hands raised apologetically. Her eyes found mine. I'm so sorry. I tried to stop them, but the little boy recognized Tobias from his drawings. He just ran to him, started shouting about the music man from his dreams. My feet carried me forward. 1 step, 2. The figure on the ground turned. His face, his eyes, the face I had loved with every fiber of my being. The eyes that once looked at me like I was the answer to every question he had ever asked. Years had carved new lines into his skin. Grey threaded through hair that was matted and unwashed. His jacket hung from shoulders that had become too thin. His shoes were held together with tape and prayer. But those eyes were still his. Recognition dawned across his features. Shock, confusion, then understanding, then pain so deep It had its own gravity. "Daddy," Malachi's voice rang out. "We found you. Celine dreamed about where you'd be," she told the lady with the shopping cart. "She said you'd be near the fish pond because the fish remind you of freedom. Are you free now, Daddy?" Tobias couldn't speak. Tears carved rivers through years of grief. His hands trembled as he reached for them. Malachi grabbed on and wouldn't let go. Celine pressed her palm against his bearded face like she was memorizing every line. "You let me think." Tobias's voice shattered. "All this time. Zora, I looked everywhere. I walked until my shoes fell apart. I begged shelters for information. I stood outside police stations until they threatened to arrest me. Daddy, why are you crying?" "Because I found you." A sob escaped him. "Because you found me." Heavy footsteps approached. Gideon arrived with 4 security guards. His face was a mask of controlled fury. The billionaire who had never lost control of any situation in his life. "Sir?" His voice cut like glass. "Step away from those children immediately." Tobias looked up, weathered but unbowed. "I'm their father." Gideon's head snapped toward me, every muscle in his body rigid with barely contained rage. "What is he talking about, Zora?" Malachi stepped in front of Tobias, his small body positioned protectively, his father's eyes blazing from his 6-year-old face. "Yeah, Mama." His voice carried across the garden. "What is he talking about?" 300 guests watched from a distance. Cameras documented every moment. My 2 worlds had finally collided. What do you say when the life you built is a house of cards and the wind has finally come? Silence stretched across the garden. The fairy lights still twinkled. The champagne still sparkled in crystal glasses. But every person within earshot had stopped breathing. Gideon waited. His security team waited. Tobias waited. My children waited. "Zora." Gideon's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Answer the question. Now." I looked at Tobias. Years of suffering looked back at me. His eyes still held something I didn't deserve. Not forgiveness, not love, but recognition. He still saw the woman I had been before I became the monster who destroyed him. "Yes." The words scraped out of my throat like shattered glass. "He's their father." Gideon's face cycled through emotions faster than I could track. Shock, disbelief, calculation, then cold, surgical fury. "You told me he was dead." I lied. About everything. About everything. The security guards shifted uncomfortably. This was beyond their training, beyond anyone's training. But I wasn't talking to Gideon anymore. I was talking to Tobias. I was scared. The confession poured out like blood from a wound. The bills were crushing us. Malachi was sick. You were about to make a deal with dangerous people. And my mother called. Tobias's jaw tightened. She offered money, security, a future for the twins, but only if I left you. So you chose money. His voice was flat. I chose fear. Tears streamed down my face. I told myself I was protecting you, protecting them, protecting everyone from the inevitable tragedy of watching you destroy yourself trying to save us. You didn't give me a choice. No, I didn't. Gideon stepped forward. "This is absurd. Whatever happened in the past is irrelevant. Those children have been in my care for your care." Tobias rose to his feet. Unsteady but defiant. "You didn't raise them. You funded them. There's a difference. I gave them everything. You gave them money. I gave them songs. I gave them stories. I gave them pieces of myself that no amount of wealth could ever replace." The twins still held his hands. They hadn't let go since they found him. "I was a coward, Tobias." My voice collapsed completely. "I destroyed you because I was too weak to believe we could survive together. I looked at our love, and I saw uncertainty. I looked at my mother's money, and I saw safety. And now I see the truth." I forced myself to meet his gaze. I didn't protect anyone. I just ran. And running doesn't save anyone. It just spreads the damage further. The garden held its breath, waiting for his response, waiting to see if grace still existed in a world that had given him none. Tobias listened to every word. The young homeless woman, Maya, stood nearby. She had worked at his shelter before it closed. She had been one of the young people he saved when no one else would. Now she watched him face the woman who had destroyed him. When I finished speaking, silence fell again. The garden waited. Then Tobias spoke, not with rage, not with accusations, something deeper, something that hurt more than anger ever could. You want to know what the worst part was? I shook my head. I didn't want to know. I needed to know. It wasn't sleeping under bridges. I grew up on streets. I knew how to survive cold, how to survive hunger, how to survive being invisible. His voice cracked. It wasn't losing everything I'd built, the shelter, the non-profit, the life I tried to create from the wreckage of us. Things can be rebuilt. What was it then? The worst part was that I believed you were right. Tears fell freely now. I believed I was nothing. I believed they were better off without me. I believed every lie I told myself about being worthless. Tobias. 2 years ago, I walked into the East River. The words hit like a physical blow. I stood in that water until it reached my chest, until the cold started shutting down my body, until I couldn't feel anything anymore. Maya wiped her eyes. A fisherman pulled me out, called an ambulance. I spent 3 weeks in a hospital, psychiatric hold. They said I was a danger to myself. My knees buckled. Gideon's arm kept me upright. For once, I was grateful for his presence. I almost let that belief kill me, Zora. The belief that I didn't matter. The belief that my children were better off with a dead father than a poor one. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back the years. His voice hardened. But I didn't survive this to waste more time on bitterness. He looked down at the twins. I built Wren's nest because I thought if I could save other people's children, maybe it would make up for losing my own. Maybe their survival could fill the hole where my family used to be. Malachi squeezed his hand. You don't have to fill holes anymore, Daddy. We're here now. Celine still held her father's face. Her small hands framed his bearded cheeks. Her eyes searched his with an intensity that belonged to someone much older. You never stopped looking for us? Tobias covered her hands with his own. Never, not once. Not in my heart. His voice dropped. I just thought maybe the looking was hurting you. Maybe staying away was the kindest thing I could do. That's silly. Celine's voice carried quiet authority. How could we be hurt by someone looking for us? We were hurt by not being found. Malachi stepped back from Tobias. His small body vibrated with barely contained emotion. His father's fire burning in a 6-year-old frame. He turned to me. Mama lied to us. Not a question. A statement. An accusation. I knelt down to his level. The gown pooled in garden dirt. The ring suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. Yes, I did. About Daddy being gone. Yes. About him not wanting us. Yes. About everything. Yes, Malachi. About everything. His jaw worked. Processing. Calculating. Deciding. Are you going to lie anymore? The question hung in the evening air. A question that was really a demand. A test. A chance. No, baby. My voice faltered. No more lies. I promise. Promises can be hurt too. I know. But this one won't be. Malachi studied me. 6 years old, and already capable of seeing through adult pretense. Celine spoke from her position beside Tobias. Then maybe we can fix it. Everyone turned to her. You can't fix things if you're still lying about them. She said it simply, like it was obvious. Like adults were strange creatures who complicated everything unnecessarily. Some things are damaged beyond repair, little one. Gideon's voice intruded. Cold. Some things can't be fixed. Celine looked at him, really looked at him. Everything can be fixed. You just have to want to fix it more than you want to stay damaged. 6-year-old wisdom, cutting straight to the core, leaving the adults with nothing to say. Gideon had been calculating the entire time. I could see it in his eyes. The same analytical process he used to acquire companies and dismantle competitors, weighing variables, measuring outcomes, determining the optimal path forward. His security team waited for orders that never came. Instead, he waved them away. "Leave us," they hesitated. Now, the guards retreated. Their footsteps faded into the garden. 300 guests had long since departed. The fairy lights still twinkled above empty tables. Gideon stepped closer, not threatening, something else entirely. "Zora." His voice carried none of its usual command. "I need to know what you want. Not demanding, not manipulating, actually asking." For the first time since I'd known him, Gideon Ashford looked uncertain. The billionaire who controlled boardrooms and bent markets to his will stood before me without armor. "I built an empire," he said quietly. "I can acquire anything, anyone. I thought I could acquire a family too, but families don't work like corporations." "Gideon, just answer the question. What do you want?" I looked at the twins, still holding their father's hands, still refusing to let go. I looked at Tobias, weathered and weary, and nothing like the polished world I had chosen over him. I looked at the ring on my finger. Carats of perfect emptiness. "I was never going to marry you." The words hung between us. "Not because you're a bad man. You're not. You gave us everything money could buy." I slipped the ring from my finger. "But I was never really yours, Gideon. I was always running. And you can't build a life with someone who's still running." He took the ring, studied it for a long moment. "I hope you find what you're looking for, Zora." Pain flickered across his features, then something like respect. "I hope it was worth all of this." He turned and walked away, taking his world with him, and leaving me standing in the wreckage of everything I had pretended to want. The garden fell silent. No billionaire, no security, no 300 witnesses, just us, Tobias, Zora, Malachi, Celine. Maya waited at a respectful distance. The young woman from the shelter who had inadvertently led my children to their father. She watched us with eyes that had seen too much hardship to expect fairy tale endings. Tobias rose to his full height. Years had diminished him physically, but something else had grown in their place. A quiet strength forged in suffering, a dignity that couldn't be stolen. He looked at the twins, their small hands still wrapped around his fingers. Then he looked at me. "I can't forgive you yet." I nodded. "I know. I don't know if I ever can. What you took from me, years of their lives, years of songs and stories and birthdays and first steps, you can't give those back. I know. I don't deserve forgiveness. No, you don't." The words should have destroyed me. Instead, they felt like truth. And truth, even painful truth, was better than the lies I had lived inside. But I held my breath. They deserve a father. Tobias knelt down to the twins' level. "And I'm not going to let what you did to me become what I do to them." Malachi's face lit up. "You're staying?" "I'm staying, son." Tobias pulled both children into his arms. "Not because your mother deserves it, not because the world is fair, but because you deserve a father who chooses you every single day." Celine buried her face in his neck. "I missed you, Daddy. I missed you too, baby girl, more than you'll ever know." He looked up at me over their heads. "So I'm not going anywhere. Not this time. Not ever again." 6 months later, everything had changed. The penthouse was gone. In its place, a modest apartment in Brooklyn. 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, windows that overlooked a community garden instead of the Manhattan skyline. My choice. The twins split their time between 2 homes now. Weekdays with me, weekends with Tobias, holidays negotiated like peace treaties. Co-parenting with someone you destroyed is complicated. We didn't have a manual. We made it up as we went. Tobias no longer slept under bridges. The story of our reunion had gone viral. News outlets ran features. Podcasts invited him as a guest. Donations flooded back to Wren's Nest faster than he could process them. The shelter reopened 3 months ago, bigger than before. More beds, more resources. Maya ran the day-to-day operations, while Tobias focused on expansion. They were planning a second location in Newark, He built something beautiful from the wreckage I created. I would never stop being amazed by that. We're not a love story anymore. I said this to him one evening during the handoff. The twins were packing their overnight bags. We stood in my kitchen like polite strangers. Maybe we never get to be again. No, he agreed. Probably not, but we're their story. I watched Malachi zip his backpack. And that's the one that matters. Tobias nodded slowly. That's enough. For now. That's enough. The twins emerged with their bags, ready for their weekend. Daddy, look what I drew. Malachi held up a picture. 2 houses connected by a bridge. Stick figures walking back and forth. Nobody stranded. Nobody left behind. Celine showed hers next. A family standing together. Mother, father, 2 children. Nobody missing from the frame. Not a fairy tale. Something better. Something real and earned and ongoing. Ready, warriors? Tobias asked. Ready? They shouted together. They left with their father. And for the first time in years, I wasn't running from anything. This story stays with me. Not because it ended perfectly. It didn't. Perfect endings are for movies and bedtime stories. This story stays with me because of what it teaches. Zora thought she was protecting her children by choosing security over love. She wrapped her fear in the language of sacrifice, called it motherhood, called it responsibility. But children don't need perfect circumstances. They need presence. They need truth. They need parents brave enough to struggle alongside them instead of disappearing into safer arms. Tobias thought he was nothing because the world had always treated him that way. Passed from home to home until the system gave up on him entirely. Sleeping under bridges confirmed it. Even the woman he loved most seemed to agree. But his children never saw him as nothing. They saw him as the father who made up different songs every night, the music man who lived in their dreams, the missing piece they spent years searching for. And in the end, it wasn't money that put this family back together. It wasn't power or penthouses or society parties. It was a little boy who remembered his father's smell, a little girl who dreamed of a man searching for her, and a mother who finally stopped running from the truth she had buried under silk sheets and designer gowns. We tell ourselves lies to survive. I understand that now. Sometimes the truth feels too heavy to carry. Sometimes escape looks like salvation. But those lies have a cost. They don't just hurt us. They hurt everyone who trusts us with their love. Tobias said something that stayed with me longer than anything else in this story. I'm not going to let what you did to me become what I do to them. That's grace, not forgiveness. Grace, the choice to end the cycle even when you have every right to continue it. The decision to stop passing pain from one generation to the next. That's the lesson here. We always have a choice, even when we've been shattered by someone else's choices. If this story moved you, hit that like button. If it made you think about your own relationships, your own choices, your own truths, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Your stories matter to me. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's running from something. Someone who's been run from. Someone who needs to remember that it's never too late to tell the truth. And if you're not subscribed yet, join the Untold Lineage family. We tell the stories that hide beneath the surface. The ones that matter, the ones that stay with you. Because everyone has a lineage. And sometimes, the most important stories are the ones we've been too afraid to tell. Until next time, this is Untold Lineage. Stay connected, stay real, stay human.